And I found that, it's an ecosystem where if you're involved in it and you're interacting with the people in the space, you tend to have more. There's more opportunity for you in terms of selling.
Focus on love, love what's in focus. Aim for above because the ceiling's focus. Focus on love what's in focus. Aim for above because the ceiling is bogus. Focus on love. All right. Hey, I'm David ProRock. I am here with another episode of Famous Rapper Convos. I'm here with a very special guest. I haven't had a guest like this on the show yet, so this is exciting. I'm here with Vandal. He is a rapper as well as a record label owner and a cryptocurrency connoisseur. He's been doing a lot of groundbreaking work in the online crypto space, and so I'm really excited to meet him today because we've never met before, and I just want to get to know. I guess you. It's kind of weird. I'm saying him and also talking directly to you, and yeah. So we can get started if Vandal, you want to just take a couple minutes to introduce yourself.
Sure. Okay. So I go by the alias of Vandal. I'm originally from Toronto, Canada, and have been sort of doing hip hop, I guess, since the early 90s, around 91, 92. And I've also, loved to travel and had a lot of great opportunities to go to different parts of the world. And eventually that kind of led me to Malaysia. And through my travels, I always kind of like to use that experiences that I've had and kind of reflect back in the music that I've made in the past. And that kind of I ended up in Malaysia of all places, and ended up just kind of being there for the past 13 over years. Building the hip hop community, working, collaborating with different people, creating platforms. And my mission throughout all of this, aside from creating it, was definitely collaborating and community. So that extension of my involvement in the music industry and helping and working with other artists allowed me to sort of set up an independent record label, which I did back in 2010. And that sort of led me down the path of creating events, hosting events, as well as mentoring and working with up and coming artists. So I ended up, not only doing the record label thing, but as well as, creating these platforms, event series around hip hop, specifically battles like MCs, DJs, beat makers, beatboxers, producers, graffiti artists. And um, I guess my sort of intro and how things converged in the cryptocurrency world was, I guess I was curious about Bitcoin back in 2015, and it wasn't really something that I, found access to really. I was just kind of, doing my own learnings and exploring amongst all the other things that I was doing with music. But it wasn't until 2017, early 2017, when a friend of mine was just like, here, I'll sell you some Bitcoin. And it made it a lot easier. And I kind of entered at that point just before the first major bull run. And that one thing led to another. I discovered CryptoKitties, which is an NFT project from Dapper Labs, which was the first sort of major use case of NFTs. And I was kind of like hooked. I was like, wow, this is like, at first I was looking at it, I was like, what the hell is this? These digital, who's going to buy digital cats? It just, and then it clicked, and everything was just sort of, I got more involved in the ecosystem in Malaysia, started, attending meetups, and, one thing led to another. And at the end of 2019, I was learning about DAOs and community organizations that have sort of a decentralized governance. And I was pretty excited about that because of the potential implications it has for creative communities. So I started doing workshops for the community in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur, and in Bangkok. And then I just decided to venture out on this project called Dow Records at the end of 2019, early 2020, by bringing together all of my interests sort of in one place. And since then, we've been really experimenting, onboarding, trying to innovate as much as we can with the technology. I'm not a tech person per se. Like I'm not a coder. I don't know how to do all that kind of stuff. But you know, it's it's just been a like kind of like a wild ride, and the community has been so open, and it's really refreshing because I felt like I was back in the early '90s hip hop scene in Toronto, where it was like this underground place where not a whole lot of people knew about it. If you were in it, you were in it, and it kind of gave me that sort of energy and like motivation to kind of move forward at the speed that we've been moving. But yeah, I guess that kind of sums it up.
Nice. That was a great story. You it was clear all the way through. I saw the through lines there, so that was great. You've been doing hip hop and community for almost 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
From Toronto to Malaysia. Now you're back in Vancouver. Community and collaboration, those are two things that I love in my own life and my own music. So that's yeah, I love that. Um, and if you could tell me a little bit about, so I guess it's pretty fitting. It's like January.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to think like 12 months from now, where do you hope to be with your current projects?
That's a good question because I think that there are a lot of things that are kind of bubbling to the surface within the sort of NFT landscape, and it's kind of, I don't know. It's a bit difficult to forecast that far. I think we're just going to continue on with our mission of onboarding people into the ecosystem, continuing to innovate on the different platforms and technologies that are available to us. And as that grows, I think that that could shift the direction of things. But ultimately, probably 12 months from now, I would imagine we would have a more comprehensive platform built to make the process of artists getting involved in sort of audio NFTs and exploring this new format, this new revenue stream, so to say, for artists. Then we'll have something more concrete for them built up that they can use that would be easier for them. There are a lot of issues specifically with the Ethereum blockchain at the moment, which I think that anybody who's kind of dabbling into Ethereum and NFTs are going to know that the current gas price issues are just they're very restrictive for anybody trying to do anything sort of on a lower scale aside from DeFi activities and that kind of thing. So it's these are solutions that potentially could be resolved this year, and we're hoping that that can be done on Ethereum. But we're also looking at different collaborations and partnerships with different chains to explore, just more opportunities to make it easier for people.
Hmm. Cool. So you used a bunch of terms there that I just want to take a second to define. NFT is a non-fungible token,
Mm-hmm.
which I learned recently that compared to fungible tokens like U.S. dollars and I don't know gold, these can be converted. Whereas NFTs, non-fungible tokens, they are what they are, and it's like a unique thing that is non-fungible, which means it can't be converted to other forms of wealth or tokens, money.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a unique digital asset that has verifiable ownership, that distinguishes it from any other asset based on its ID number and where it was minted. So you could have every NFT is different essentially.
mhm.
You can have variations of the same NFT that would have but they would all have different token IDs. So yeah, it's pretty much like how you described it. Yeah.
Cool. And okay, so I'm also interested in sources of revenue for music artists. I'm a
Hmm.
music artist myself, so I'm always trying to make revenue, and I also, as you are, interested in helping other music artists get revenue. And I'm wondering if you have any success stories from NFTs of artists being able to monetize, or is it still kind of in the experimental phase? Trying to
Hmm.
see if it can work. Do you have any success stories or?
Yeah, there are a bunch. In general, I think in the mainstream sort of NFT ecosystem, we have artists like bigger artists like Dead Mouse and Rack and Blau who have entered the space. It mostly tends to be the electronic music artists who are more adept to getting involved in this new tech. And there's been sales of tens of thousands of dollars on NFTs for these big artists. Now, whether or not that's just particular collectors in the ecosystem or these are like actual fans, it's still very insular in that sense where the number of users and the people who are involved tend to be already ones who understand crypto and NFTs and that sort of thing, and have also made a bunch of money investing. So
Mm-hmm,
in terms of general mass market type of thing, that I don't think we're there yet. In terms of success stories, we've had a bunch, definitely. On our end for Dow Records, we had this event series called the Pop Up, and after doing one season of the Pop Up, which was like a collaboration between music artists and visual artists, and then they would create cover art for a track, and then we would mint that track as an NFT. And then as we went into season two, I ended up selling passes for the full season. So that was successful. We sold all the passes, and then from the NFTs that we've minted, some of them were quite popular and they sold out. So it's kind of interesting to see what works and what doesn't work. And I found that it's an ecosystem where if you're involved in it and you're interacting with the people in the space, you tend to have more. There's more opportunity for you in terms of selling your NFTs.
mm-hmm,
Whereas if you're not sort of involved that much in the space, it can be challenging for people to see, well, I don't really know that person, why should I buy it? And then there's also price points which we've been experimenting with. There are new platforms that are coming up that are integrating music streaming as well as NFTs together, that are quite interesting at the moment, that are just kind of launching now. We're exploring different things with all the different platforms, testing things out, seeing what works, what doesn't work. It's still in that phase, really. So yeah, like I don't know, anybody who's trying to do something in the space, or wanting to get involved with NFTs and music streaming on blockchain platforms. It's like any other sort of social media endeavors where you need to get involved with the community. And I
mm-hmm,
think that's the best way at the moment, because you can't imagine sort of like all your fans to have Ethereum and have a MetaMask or a wallet set up where they can easily interact. I think we're still like a couple of years away from that.
mm-hmm,
Um, could be sooner, if we have some sort of breakthrough platform or app or something that can make it easy for people. But yeah, so it's exciting in that experimental phase.
yeah,
So, but yeah,
cool.
there's been some success. Some things work, some things don't work. But that's sort of how I've seen it.
Mm-hmm, nice. So thinking about okay, so you kind of touched on this, but if thinking about like crushing your goals, like reaching an ideal state, um specifically, like, who do you think could help you the most? Like, is there any people with a particular skill set that you think if joined, partnered with Dow Records, or just got involved, like what type of people do you most want to attract?
Um, I personally think that up and coming artists, new artists, um, people who want to experiment, those who are interested in looking at different opportunities aside from just the mainstream thing, people who are motivated and just want to put in the work. I think are the ones who I've seen are coming in, and I think that's where kind of the future is. It's challenging when dealing with already established artists. Like I've had conversations with dozens of established artists, and they don't really see the benefits. They're just like, well, I'm making my streaming revenue. I'm good. This is coming in. Why do I need to do anything different? Or like, why do I have to learn more, learn something new? They're
Hmm.
kind of. I find that the people who are kind of entrenched in the traditional industry, specifically the artists, I wouldn't call them lazy, but I would just say that they just don't see the plus side of getting involved yet.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure once everything is set up and running smoothly, then they'll come in. But to be honest, by that point, they might be too late, in my opinion, to
Okay.
really benefit. And I think that this whole ecosystem is going to be driven forward by new artists.
Okay, cool. So let's look at my case in particular, which is part of the reason that I wanted to have this call. I released my first album in November of last year. And what the project specifically that I'm focused on is doing like a live stream concert performance. And to go along with that performance, I have created a like unique physical merch,
Mm-hmm.
as well as I have a contact who will manufacture it for me. And so I'm does do you think Dow Records is a good? Sorry, it's kind of loud.
Oh, is that
Um,
my end? On my
yeah.
end? Okay, hold on. Let me just mute. My mom's on the phone.
Okay. Cool. Cool. So I'm looking for partnerships that can help me. I mean, more or less like maximize or like make the most engaging experience possible for my fans, and build excitement and do this live stream concert, um, such that it's memorable, and then as well as sell the physical merch, which are, like I said, it's like a unique item, for me and my brand. And so one of the things I've been thinking about is like if NFTs like makes sense like to go along with the artwork, or like I saw the like 3D web concert venue, stuff like that. Or yeah, so like what might that partnership look like, if I were to like, do you think I'm a good candidate, since I have an album and I want to do a concert and I have unique merch, like, do you think we could have a good partnership?
Sorry, unmuting. um, yeah, for sure. I think that like if you're up for experimenting and for offering sort of a unique experiences for your fans, then definitely we could help. Especially with what we've been doing in the metaverse, in cryptovoxels, with the, I guess, virtual events that we've been holding. And this is something that, really stemmed out of not being able to do physical events anymore, right? Due to the pandemic. And, I like the blessings and the curse that comes along with it. One of the things that I would suggest is how you can offer people something exclusive. So, like we've, through the experiments we've done, we've noticed that exclusivity in terms of NFTs, whether that's a remix or a like a new piece of art to go along with it, something exclusive, really makes a difference in terms of the NFTs. Because I don't think we're quite there yet where NFTs are sort of like an MP3 where we can sell them cheaper. And right now it's sort of giving people that exclusivity, like a one of one, or three, one of three issuance of tokens. And yeah, I think that the metaverse and crypto voxels in utilizing these virtual spaces can provide a really unique experience for fans. So there's definitely room for us to collaborate, I think. Yeah.
Cool. Like what would that process actually look like? So if I were to do it myself, what I would do is create an Eventbrite event, and live stream onto YouTube, and basically sell tickets and have purchasing a ticket come with the physical merch. You buy a ticket and you get the merch. And also, I'm planning on taking the live stream down afterwards and making it available only to people that bought tickets.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm wondering, like, where does DAO Records and like the metaverse and all that, like, how does that fit in?
Well, okay. So what we've done is you can create a unique event space. It can be fully customizable. You can have links and photos and embedded videos, and also direct links to NFTs as well in this space. Currently, the space is not exclusive, meaning that you can't hold private events inside. Although, you know, um, it's not like it's publicly broadcasted. So if you had something exclusive for fans, they could be in there, and you can have the conversation and the chat, and everything is sort of in the space itself. And you could embed a live YouTube stream as well as a live Twitch stream. So depending on what you prefer to go live with, you can also create that experience in advance. It doesn't necessarily have to be live, where you could embed an unlisted video
Mm-hmm.
from your YouTube channel. So that way, you know, it's not available to the public, but if you come into the space, then you can experience it, and add that with like a Q&A, or an exclusive, like you're in the space, maybe you're interviewing other people that are involved in the project, you're explaining things about the project, like sort of like a listening party along with that live experience. I think it could be pretty cool. The way that we could do ticketing, I mean, you could still use Eventbrite or any of the other sort of invitation services that are out there. But you could also have an exclusive NFT as well that could be like a ticket that you could sell to people as something that's collectible. So, for example, it could be like "I was there" kind of thing, or you could even have a reward for people who attend as like a badge of attendance that you can offer them as well as an NFT. Um, yeah, I think there's a lot of cool things that you can do to make it exciting and unique for people, um, despite certain limitations. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So I have a few questions. The
Mm-hmm.
the NFT, people buy them like with the hope that they would sell it for more later. Is that kind of the idea?
Well, there's I guess there's two ways to look at it. One is as an investment. So, for example, you believe in the artist and you like their work and you want to support them and you want to keep it. So that's like sort of a collector mentality, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you say you go to a concert and you pick up a signed poster or something, right? So you keep it. But then there are people who are looking to flip these things, right? So there are people who buy it to flip it. So that would be sort of the secondary sales market, the secondary market for NFTs, which exists with NFT art, with crypto
Mm-hmm.
art. There are people who buy just to flip them and make a small profit, and then there are people who buy them just to hold them and collect them.
Okay. So for an audio NFT, is that like a music that you need to buy the NFT in order to hear it?
There's different ways you can do it. It really depends on, well, there are a number of factors which are currently changing due to file size limitation increases. So, for example, originally there like it was meant to cater to um, JPEGs and PNGs and GIFs, right?
Hmm.
So in terms of music, you could do something where you have sort of a low quality 192 kbps MP3 that gets attached to the NFT. You could limit it to a 30-second preview even. And then when someone purchases the NFT, they can unlock a high quality copy of the music
Hmm.
for them to download. You could also include the artwork, high quality artwork in that unlock. So, for example, imagine it's just sort of access, right? You purchase it and then you unlock access to additional files like whatever you want to include. You could include anything really. You could include a t-shirt even and post it to them. Like, I think that the coolest thing is that you can there aren't many limitations in terms of how you can utilize the tool. Whereas with an MP3, it's there's just one purpose: it's just the play, right?
Hmm.
You can't really sell an MP3 to somebody else. There's no secondary market for an MP3.
Right.
So
So what is the buying an NFT process look like, and like where does it go? Like, do people is this something that people are going to be using, like coming back to, or is it more of like you buy it and then it's just in a wallet and then everything else has to happen like separate of the actual NFT?
so when you purchase an NFT, normally if you're doing it using cryptocurrency, it will go into whichever wallet was used to make the purchase. And with the Ethereum blockchain, all wallets are pretty much public. So if you have the wallet address of anybody and you're on OpenSea, for example, OpenSea is a great place for you to explore, let's say, the collections that people have, or just in general, or just looking around. Um, you can pretty much see whatever's in somebody's wallet, and I think a lot of a lot of people who are involved in NFTs compared to, let's say, collectors of traditional physical art is that their art is there for people to see it, as opposed to physical art collectors who the art just ends up in their house and it's not there for the public really to see. So I think that's the cool thing about NFTs, specifically audio NFTs, is that other people can listen to it as well, and there are still you know uh, certain things that we're navigating around publishing and licensing and sort of the IP and copyright issues that often people have because there's no sort of definitive use case that is NFT specific, where it is like this, and because it's very customizable. So these are kind of the products I think that will come.
Hmm.
That some of the stuff that we're also working on, and the process of purchasing. Um, Most of the platforms you need to use cryptocurrency, specifically Ethereum. Um, One of the platforms that we've been working with, they were one of the first to integrate a credit card payment solution. So you could come and you could purchase NFTs with credit card, which I think is a really good way of sort of onboarding people, because when you do that, then a wallet gets created for you, and then that's where your NFT is held. And then on that platform itself, you can then access the unlock file, if there is one for the NFT, where you can then access the files that are included. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that about covers the questions I had in that realm, and I want to change gears a little bit. These are some questions that I ask guests of my show, and so I'm curious to hear. Um, do you know how to freestyle rap,
Mm-hmm.
and how did you first get introduced into freestyle, and how has it like impacted your rap career?
That's pretty much how I started, actually. I was freestyling more than I was writing. You know, back in probably focusing more on that area in like 92, 92, 93. And I definitely think freestyling is a great sort of way to evolve your craft. Um, like everybody has a different process in terms of listening to a beat, writing. Some people don't write to a beat. Like it's very sort of individual in terms of all of us artists who have our own process, right?
Mhm.
But freestyling is definitely an advantage that I think is an important one, especially when it comes to live shows and improvising for an audience. You know, it's helped me numerous times. Especially when you forget a line or you just want to do something different. Sometimes I'll just do a whole show that was just pretty much freestyling. Like it's to me it's a lot of fun, and it's sort of one of my foundation tools that I developed first before even writing, and it did help. It did help me with my writing because it allows me to kind of just go over things in my head first without being too structured or being too formal, and having sort of that train of thought just kind of flow.
Cool. Do you have any tricks or exercises for developing freestyle skills?
Yeah, I would say just sort of like, things you can do on a regular would be just going through different words that rhyme with other words. So there's like the word association rhyming game where you pick a word and you just kind of find as many words as you can that rhyme with it. And then other things is sort of like looking at your immediate environment and picking things that are around you and just kind of talking about those, rapping about those. I think those are the two main ones that I've used. And then other things like for those who dabble in the mind altering substances, maybe marijuana or you know mushrooms or whatever whatever else kind of uplifting things there are. That tends to kind of open the channels a bit wider, and tapping into that sort of flow, I guess, that zone that you're in where you're not thinking. And the key thing, I believe, the key thing to freestyling, because I've helped different artists develop their skills over the years, is to not think about it. Don't think about it. Just try not to think. Just
Mhm.
do it. When you start thinking is when you start to create the obstacles in the path,
Mm.
and it affects the general flow.
Cool. That's great. Um, and one of the things that I love to do is listen to like every great album that's ever been created. And so I'm wondering if you have any recommendations for really, really great albums, maybe one or two of your favorites that you think like any rap artist should not even like rap artist, and it doesn't have to be a rap album, but like two really great albums that you just love listening to and you go back to.
Oh man, there's that's a really hard one because there are so many. Um, the one that sort of tops my mind right now is Nas's Illmatic. I think like any MC should know that album. That one's, in my opinion, is one of the most important hip hop albums of all time. Beyond that, if there's another one, I would say, like I would say listen to albums in different languages that
Mm,
aren't yours. And this is one of the things that I kind of had the opportunity to experience early, was to I guess not that early because hip hop wasn't around the world until probably the mid late 90s. But having had the opportunity to go to places like Mongolia and Madagascar, um, and Malaysia in the late 90s into 2000s, I was able to hear hip hop in different languages.
Mm.
And without needing to understand it, you can just pick up the vibe and the flow. And I think that one of my favorite all time international hip hop albums was from a group called I Am from France. The album is called L'École de Micro-Argent, and it's super incredible. It reminded me of Wu Tang a bit, but like in French,
Hmm.
and they are actually affiliated with Wu Tang Clan as well.
Okay,
So
so wait, what is that called? I am.
yeah, IAM,
Uh-huh. And then how do you spell that?
L apostrophe ECOLE.
Oh, all right.
It
L'école
should come
du
up.
micro d'argent.
Yeah,
Okay, got it. I'm
yeah.
gonna listen to
That's
this.
that one is like production wise. It has that very sort of early Wu Tang sound, and just the flows like French. The French language hip hop is got a real sort of really nice poetic flow to it.
Cool. Okay, that's great. I'm gonna listen to that. And so the last question that I have is, based on your experience and what you've seen, what would you say is the secret to becoming a famous rapper?
Um, man, like okay, so fame doesn't necessarily equate to quality. We'll just put it that way, right? Especially, I think, in the current entertainment industry, fame tends to center around celebrity and the ability to appeal to people outside of just the music that you do, right?
Mm,
And what I've noticed over the years, especially with hip hop, is that there's been um, less and less focus on the lyrics and more focus on the beats.
mm,
So if you want to be famous, you try and do something that focuses around the beats more, and you create, I guess, lyrics that are easier to digest and that are catchier. So I guess you would focus more on the hook, and have a hook that anybody who speaks any language can kind of do. So you
mm,
notice that what tends to work well outside, not just hip hop, but songs that have whistles in it, or humming and these kind of things, where anybody can just like whistle and hum it, and it kind of gets stuck in your head. And then it also comes down to branding, and you've seen this a lot with a lot of the influencers, right? Especially with Instagram, is that you can basically fake it till you make it kind of thing. Whereas you can kind of portray any sort of way that you want to be, and then just whether it's real or not. A lot of people kind of look at people who have money, or even if they just borrow the money to kind of flaunt it in a music video, whether they have it or not. It's just kind of these sort of things, I guess, lead to people, um, you know, being interested in it, in a general sense. So I guess if you want fame, don't focus on your lyrics
mm-hmm. Cool, cool.
necessarily. I mean, that's just a generic thing.
Yeah, yeah. You like.
Eminem is famous, and he focused on his lyrics. There are people who can do that, but I think that it's few and far between.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Cool.
just interaction with your fans. I think interaction is very important. Having that personal touch, and social media allows you to do that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. So just to summarize, you said focus on beats. You need to have the best beats, and you need to have lyrics that are catchy and that vibe with those best beats. You need to have a brand that gets people excited, but it also has to be personable, and you need to connect directly with fans. Was that the four?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, cool,
And yeah,
awesome,
something that's unique, that isn't sort of imitation. I think music
nice.
music can be imitation, but the brand, I think, should stand out and be unique.
Nice. Okay, cool. So if there are any rappers out there, I can help with the beats. I actually started a newsletter recently where I send out a playlist of the best YouTube beats that I found during that week, and I do that every Friday. So freestyleroulette.substack.com if you're interested in that. And cool. So this has been Vandal, another episode of Famous Rapper Convos, and I just want to give you a couple minutes. If there's anything you want to shout out or plug here, I just give you couple minutes,
Sure.
whatever you got to say.
Cool. Yeah, so make sure to check out dowrecords.org. Also to check us out on social media, mainly Twitter. We're active, dowrecords_. Look into all of the audio NFT platforms and the audio streaming blockchain platforms like Emanate and Audius, I think are a good place to start. Be inquisitive if you're out there, if you want to get involved in this space. And I've got my own personal project. I'm releasing a couple tracks coming up soon, as well as bringing back some of my old beats that I produced in the early 90s. So I'm doing this experiment project called Rare Vandal, which is going to be sort of a blockchain-based NFT experiment. So I'm looking to just kind of innovate on that. So keep your eye out on that. Follow me on social media, Van Digital, the Digital Vandal. You can find me there pretty much everywhere. That's my social media tag. So yeah,
Awesome.
that's it.
Van Digital.
Thank you, David. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Vandal. This was a great conversation. I learned a lot. I need to, I guess, research a little bit more about doing the event online on the metaverse. But besides that, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me, and hope you have a great day. And
Awesome.
I look forward to checking out that project. I'll follow you on Instagram, Van Digital.
Oh yeah, and also join our Discord community for DAO Records as well. So that's on our website. You can link through there.
Nice. I love Discord. Oh, I have one more question. Have you ever freestyled on Discord?
No, I haven't. Not on Discord.
Oh, it's one of the best places to freestyle.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I love
Nice.
it. You can get a bot in there, plays beats, and then you just freestyle in a cipher.
Okay, that's
awesome.
dope. I'll have to try that out.
Awesome. Cool.
Nice.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks, David. Appreciate it.
Talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Focus on love, love what's in focus. Aim for above because the ceiling's focus. Focus on love what's in focus. Aim for above because the ceiling is bogus. Focus on love what's in focus. Aim for above because the ceiling's bogus. Focus on love what's in focus. Aim for above because the ceiling is bogus. I wanna lay down a never-ending road. We never go to